aboard, for this stagecoach is about to move out, and it's for everyone that has potential.
What happened if you hearken unto the voice of the devil?
Try to connect with the elders now.
This stuff for kids.
To these different topics that we be sharing every day.
You want to learn about your health?
Please continue to question everything.
Continue to tune in.
They are not doctors. They have done research, and they are sharing with you that what works for them. And again, the opinion that's on the show today is not suggested by AC Funtime Superstars that you use it. But if you care to use it, feel free. If the food on the table tastes good and it does something for you, eat it.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the AC Funtime Television Show. My name is AC, and along with me today, we're in Georgetown, by the way, and we are traveling. We are at the home of Minister John Henry. And we have a guest that was on the show previously, Mr. Bernard Jackson. And Mr. Jackson, he's going to be telling us what happened to him doing a routine traffic stop.
All right. What happened recently, my family and I, we were traveling to Charleston, keyword traveling. We were traveling to Charleston. I was stopped. He didn't show probable cause. He didn't identify a victim or a crime. Continued to hold me for about 20 minutes. Eventually, the officer threatened me with violence. What do you mean violence? What do you mean? Well, in order for me to get out of the vehicle, he said if I didn't get out of the vehicle, he was going to forcefully remove me. He tapped on my window once with his baton, and he was going to break the window.
For what reason he have to force you to get out of the vehicle?
He doesn't have a reason, but officers in the state of South Carolina think that they have the authority to police you when you are traveling in your vehicle. And so the officer didn't understand this, and eventually I was arrested. My wife was arrested. We both.
Why was your wife arrested and she was not driving?
That was just insult to injury. She wasn't. She was just my guest traveling, and because she asserted her right to remain silent, they took that as non-compliance. And so. Hold it.
So when he pulled you over, he didn't proceed to write you a ticket for speeding?
No, he spent about 20 minutes asking me what my name was, which the state of South Carolina does not require that you, when you're stopped, that you identify yourself unless there's probable cause for a crime. And I asked the officer to show probable cause and identify a victim. There wasn't one, so I wasn't required to actually identify myself nor provide him with any type of state identification, i.e. a driver's license.
So you mean to tell me when he pulled you over, he did not tell you that you were speeding?
The first thing they have to do is to get you to admit to be under their jurisdiction. So he wanted me to admit to a person or be a name or to show his driver's license. So the first thing he says is, may I have your driver's license and insurance? And so that way, when you hand that to him, you give him authority to move forward.
Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you the mic back. And I want you to take 60 seconds or 30 seconds and explain the rights of the citizens as you're trying to explain to us that when an officer stops you, that you do not have to give them your driver's license nor give them any information about yourself until they show probable cause for stopping you.
Yes, South Carolina is one of the 50. There's about 24 states in the United States that actually have statutes that require people to identify themselves when stopped by police. South Carolina is not one of them. And even in those states where you have to identify yourself according to the statutes, the officer must have probable cause. Well, South Carolina is not one of those states, but yet the officer still persisted in trying to get me to identify myself. So I asserted my right to not have to identify myself. The officer proceeded to escalate the situation to where I felt threatened, and then I pulled off from the stop. And so I left the scene. And so
because you felt threatened.
Because I felt threatened.
He
yes.
tapped on your window like he was going to break the glass.
He actually said that he was going to break the glass and forcibly remove me. Now I had my two children in the car, and so therefore they've been enforcing these laws for a long time unlawfully, and people just don't know. So when you go in front of a judge, if you don't know that you actually have the right to do this and you can't point to the constitutional clause that says this, the judge is just going to bang the gavel and have you pay the ticket.
So what happened after you decided to pull off?
Eventually, they flattened my
Why
tires.
did they flatten your tires?
You know, they go ahead of you on the roadway and put down the tax. And
Okay.
so they use the stop
So
tax.
they blew your tires out?
They blew my tires out. And then I pulled over. I stopped. They asked me to get out of the car at gunpoint. There was at gunpoint, there's about 5 or 6 officers that they asked me to get out of the car first, out of the vehicle first. I got out. I laid face down on the ground. It was raining.
Okay,
you know.
raining, okay.
So this is in the rain in the middle of Highway 17,
Okay, in
headed
the middle of
towards
the
Mount
highway,
Pleasant.
okay.
Yes. Then they asked my wife to get out. She didn't have any shoes on. They didn't allow her to get her shoes afterwards.
Why did she have to get out the car?
Because they had the guns, and I suppose they had the guns on the vehicle using a loudspeaker.
Okay.
Passenger, that's what they called her, to get out of the car.
Okay.
And so she got out of the vehicle, and since she was traveling comfortably with her shoes off, she didn't have her shoes on, and nor did she want to reach down and make them think that she was going for anything that would cause them.
So she got out of the car?
Yes. And so after that, they had us both out. They arrested my wife first, put her in the vehicle, then they put handcuffs on me. And then they proceeded to approach the vehicle with guns, 4 or 5 officers with guns drawn, pointed at our kids.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold a minute. You want this mic?
Yeah, I would like to have this, Mike. Do you feel that at any time in this ordeal that it falls up on the category of racial profiling?
I don't think it's a matter of racial profiling at this time. I think it's the cop thought it was just going to be a simple routine traffic stop, but yet he came up against someone who's knowledgeable, and so it's ego versus ego at this point. If I was someone of the same complexion, he still would have felt the same, threatened
of his intelligence.
Yes, and of his knowledge of the statutes. Now, they stood there and spoke with us and tried to coax us to get out of the car, and they knew who was in the back.
So they've been talking to you for almost a half an hour. So
yes.
He already know who was in the car.
They already knew who was in the car.
So why would he pull a gun on the kids?
It's the intimidation factor. It's insult to injury. It's the overuse of authority and the fact that they have a gun.
We're going to take a break right here. We'll be right back. This is hot, and we're going to get to the bottom of this, and we're going to talk much. We're going to take a break. Don't you dare move. We'll be right back.
Now we're going to talk about marriage. Scripture that I had a while ago. How the two walk together unless they agree. You're going to have to love God just as much as I love God, or even more. You can't pretend, look at that person, compromise, and try to figure out, well, he's good enough for this. He'll change later on. She'll change later on. Or rather, because we would say that all the time, and we know the word, but we fall for the okie dokie every time. How would you like to be in love with somebody that don't love you? Trouble ain't gonna last always. But you're gonna have to stand. You gotta stand on that rock. Hallelujah. And that rock is Jesus. Even though you might be swerving to the left and the right, but you gotta stand on that rock. Don't fall down. But if you fall down, remember this, you're a just man. Get back up. I said, God, I got to go to another level now. But in order for me to go to another level, I got to leave some stuff behind. I got to shake that stuff off of me. I can't go like that. I can't teach you something that I don't know. I got to teach you something that I know and I'm doing. If you find a woman that has more than you got, and y'all get together, I want you to know that's all her stuff. Wives, submit yourself unto your own husband and unto the Lord. See, the devil's going to challenge you. The minute you cross over from the natural to the supernatural, you're going to face some battle.
Hello, I'm Reverend James M. White, under the leadership of Pastor Samuel Rivers, Voice of the Lord International Ministry, located at 1268 Yemensaw Road. Hey, I just preached a powerful message. Do you have a personal relationship with the Lord? You can get this message on Facebook under Reverend James M. White on my face page, or you can reach me on Twitter or YouTube. Also, Comcast C2 TV.
This is strictly for the ladies. Each week, we'll give you a tip about men, how to spot them, how to get them, and how to keep them. But for this week, we'll focus on how to spot them. So my tip on how to spot men actually starts with yourself, ladies. Before you can focus on how to spot a good man, you must focus on yourself. I think too often we women spend time moving from person to person, a relationship to a relationship, or even if that's not the case, I don't know if we really spend time with ourselves, get to know who we are. So my first tip would be spending time with yourself, knowing who you are, being tuned with yourself, taking yourself out on dates, doing those things just with yourself. As far as, my husband, in my first encounter with my husband, I knew that he was different. I could tell, just trusting my instincts. And then that just, on the first date, just fortified, just having a conversation with him. So trusting your instincts, but first figuring out what those things are, getting to know who you are. And I don't believe there's no such thing as good men, because if we are still attracting the same type of men, then we really, really need to look at ourselves.
My opinion on how to spot a good man is, when I met my husband, we was always walking and we had a conversation and we had to find out who we are. And at that point in time, I took the time out to check him out and figure out what kind of man he is. And mothers always says, when it comes to a man, you have to know what you're looking for.
Okay, ladies, if you got some suggestions about how to get a good man, how to keep a man, please contact AC Fun Time. And the guys were supposed to do their part on how and what they feel, what is a good woman. Well, we didn't get to do our part, but we'll do it next week, or maybe the next week, because some of the guys were kind of shy. But right quick, I want to tell you this. How do you spot a good woman? First of all, you need to know, what does she want? Where's she going? And how to keep her. I say continue to do what you did when you got her. And Bernard said earlier, improve what you've been doing. And then also, we've been talking about starting a relationship group, whereas we have clean fun and entertainment, where we get the guys together and the ladies come and we have fun, and you meet good guys and guys meet the right lady. Hey, we're thinking about that. And if you think that's going to work and it's something that you might want to do, give us a contact, because we got a lot of single people out here and they want to meet good people, but they are busy. They don't have the time to go out, and there's not any place you can go that's safe and have clean fun anymore. But we're thinking about putting something like that together. We'll see you on the other side. Well, we're back, and I'm telling you, this may upset some of you, but hold yourself together. Brother Bernard, you said, sister, you tell me, you said they pulled the gun on the kids and took the kids out of the vehicle at gunpoint?
That's right, Brother AC. After I was arrested, which, my rights were not read to me, I was, and I informed the officers that two of my children were in the car, and I told them their names. And so they, at that point, put me in the back of the vehicle. And at that time, about, 5 or 6 officers, guns drawn, approached the vehicle and made my daughters get out at gunpoint.
Were you driving?
No.
You were not driving the car?
No, I was not. I was merely a guest.
Well, tell me, why were you arrested and why were you made to get out of the vehicle if you were not driving? Did you say anything to the officer to create a scene and an argument, a misunderstanding?
I said nothing to the officer. I just remained silent, which is my right.
So you remained quiet during the whole process, the whole thing. You said nothing, but you was arrested?
Correct.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
Please continue to question everything, because some of us don't know our rights. So at that point, I was handcuffed and again notified the officers of the children being in the car and the fact that I didn't have any shoes on my feet at the time, and asked if I was able to retrieve my shoes. Mind you, it's raining, it's wet, and I was not allowed to do that. So I sat in the back of the police car while they, asked my daughters a series of questions.
They questioned the kids?
They questioned the kids, yes. Yes,
Go ahead.
yes. So, I was in one police car for I don't know how long. My husband was in another, waited for someone to come pick the children up. They were threatening us with DSS. Once someone got there to get the children, at that point, they put us in the same vehicle and then transported us to North Charleston. Well, when we got to North Charleston, we were, again, read our rights, taken into rooms where we were form of humiliation as far as having to strip and do the search, the whole bend and cough.
You say y'all were script search?
Well, yes, we were told to strip. Yes, and so that they could search to make sure that we were not bringing anything in. We were told that if we had anything on our person, bringing it into the jail would be a felony. So at that point, making us in separate rooms, strip and bend and cough.
So now, Brother Bernard, you were telling me that you contact some family members and some friends, and they felt that you should have cooperated with the officer.
Yeah, everybody, that's what we're used to doing. We're used to just making it easy, cooperate so it can be over quicker. But, cooperating doesn't get us justice. Sometimes we have to be put in a position to where now the wrong that has been done needs to be answered, and not just swept under the rug. So unless you put yourself in a situation to where we can actually have the right thing take place, then the wrong thing will continue to prevail.
Well, now also you were telling me that after you were arrested and everything kind of quieted down, the officer, after he found out that you knew your rights and that you all were going to handle this in a certain way, then he began to apologize and told you that he could try to help you soften the blow and make things go well for you in court. Is that right?
Yeah, the officer, in no uncertain terms, he pretty much, after I called looking for my property after being released, he called me back. I had to leave a message. He called me back and he was saying, hey, man, why didn't you just give me your identification, give me your driver's license? It would have been just a 5-minute traffic ticket. Well, the traffic ticket still would have cost me and he would have still been wrong. So, he pretty much apologized and said that if I come with an open mind to the solicitor, he's easy, he's reasonable, he'll work with me to make these things go away, since me nor my wife had any other prior criminal convictions or even traffic violations or anything.
But did he not also admit that he was wrong after perhaps checking the law and finding out that he was wrong? Did he not also admit that they were wrong?
He admitted that he had no right to actually force me to provide my driver's license or identification to another person, to a friend of ours who helped bail us out and who talked to him around 2 or 3 that morning after the arrest. He admitted to him that he actually had no right to actually force me to give the driver's license, which is the entire reason why I was arrested.
We want to thank you, and right about here, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. When we come back, we're going to be talking about some things that's going on in the community. And hey, I guess we can go as far as to say what's going on in the universe. And then we're going to also talk about the food that we're eating, because that's causing a lot of the problem. We'll be right back. Stay tuned. AC Fun Time Superstar. Don't you touch the dial. Be right back.
Greetings. This is Elder Carly Town with AC Fun Time TV, and I have an international guest here all the way from Trinidad. And I want to ask you a question. Who is Francis Maureen?
Francis Maureen is a botanist and traditional healer. I come from a family, several generations of traditional healers and midwives. I'm very much interested in making connections in both between West Africa and the diaspora in terms of our botanical traditions, our food styles, our traditional medicines. In 2010, I went to Sierra Leone, and while there I became very conscious of the links between South Carolina and Sierra Leone, especially in terms of the rice cultivation. In Trinidad, my family has been cultivating rice for several generations. And there's also a group of people called Americans in Trinidad. They were soldiers and their families, soldiers who fought with the British in the War of 1812 against America. After the war, they were settled in Trinidad in an area called Maruga, as well as in other parts of the island. And they have been involved in rice cultivation as well. And this year marks 200 years since the first group was settled in Trinidad. So in many respects, my journey here is an ancestral journey, yes, retracing and visiting the areas in North America where the American people came from to Trinidad.
Wow, thank you. Now that's some history. That's something you don't see in a history book. But we are excited about Mr. Moraine coming here, and we want you to know that he's coming back. And also, he's going to bring some people with him, too. So, in the meantime, if you want to get in touch with him, you can actually Facebook Elder Carly Town or either Arthur Chisholm. He'll be riding a white horse, and you can get in touch with him.
I felt it very important to come to South Carolina this time because when I look on at what's happening in the Gullah Geechee communities, I realized that there's a lot of encroachment on the land space, urbanization, industrialization, and so on. And I felt it was imperative that I try to connect with the elders now, rather than just having to read about the tradition in the future when there's the possibility it can decline. And I also want to offer my support to the Gullah Geechee Nation in terms of preserving their traditions and the land space which they have occupied.
On AC Fun Time, there's stuff for kids just like me.
Please continue to tune in because these topics are important.
Come on out and tune in to these different topics that we be sharing every day.
These are topics that affect you, me, and all of us. Continue to tune in.
As I said and will always say, please continue to question everything because some of us don't know our rights. So, Brother AC, before break, there were a few things that I just want to touch bases on that I did not get a chance to mention about our treatment once we were booked.
There's more?
Inside, once we were booked. So, because we asserted our right to remain silent, we were put in suicide.
Because you said you were going to remain silent.
And because we were asking questions about the procedure, which is our right. Okay. And so we were placed in, or what they said was, they're going to get a green jacket. So we had no idea what that meant. So a green jacket means you go to suicide. So, we were denied the opportunity to have a phone call because you get that right. We didn't get that because we were put in suicide. And so we got a green jacket, which meant, again, stripped again, with a green Velcro jacket in, a cell, white walls, just a window, and no blankets. It's cold. The lights are on all the time. I had to ask for the right to shower and to brush my teeth, and there were things that we weren't allowed because we would potentially harm ourselves with. And the whole time we're telling them, hey, we're not, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why I'm in suicide. I'm not going to harm myself. I'm not crazy. Why am I here?
We didn't have a reason to be arrested to begin with.
Right. But there were no answers. And every time we tried to get answers, it wasn't uniform to what we had previously gotten, the information we have gotten from the previous officer.
How long were you in jail? How long did they keep you?
Well, I spent 5 days in there. My wife spent 48 hours. The entire time I was in there, as well as her, we didn't eat anything because we have a very strict diet. We only eat natural things that grow from the earth and drink natural water. So they had all processed stuff, all canned stuff that had chemicals in it. And, if it was a Jewish person, per se, they would have been given a kosher meal, no problem. But they had to approve our meal. They said they would get with the captain, and the captain wasn't going to be there until Monday. I got arrested on late Friday night and taken into the jail early, around 2 or 3 a.m. Saturday morning. So I didn't eat for the 5 days except a cup of broccoli and lettuce that one of the officers broke the rules to give me and my wife on Sunday. And then I didn't really eat anything else until then when I was released on, I think, Tuesday. And so these are the type of things that they do because of our lack of, this is all about conformity. They want you to conform to the laws, the statutes that they're enforcing. They want you to conform to yes, to their law, which is, doesn't apply to us actually, but we think it do. They want us to conform to the procedures as far as when you get into the jail. Don't make it hard on them. Don't ask any questions. Because we asked questions, they said that we weren't complying. And through the entire process, I said, listen, I'm complying under duress, meaning you're forcing me because there's several guns pointed at me. There's several of you guys holding guns. There's many of you, only one of me. I'm conforming because I have no choice, but I don't consent to this. And I'm only complying because I have no choice. So if they got video, they'll see that I was complying from the moment, the guy came and told me to put my hands behind my back so he can arrest me. And I did exactly as told. And I think these guys are trained to say, stop resisting. Because that's.
He kept telling you stop resisting?
And I'm not doing anything but doing what he's telling me, putting my hands behind my back.
You also said to me, you said that fact that when you wanted to take a shower and the guy asked you, you mean you want another shower? You want to?
Yeah. Just like my wife said, we had to, kind of asked to take showers and wait until they acquiesced to the demand. And one time the guy was like, so you want another shower? It had been over 24 hours since I took the last one. Don't you take a shower every day? Yeah, I want another shower. So these are simple things that they do to try to, I guess, intimidate you, to belittle you, that sort of thing. And the guy says, you're in here because you didn't conform.
Out of all this time, they haven't even, they detained you, but never said what charges that you was being brought up on?
Exactly, Minister. I had to beg them to actually, where's my paperwork? What am I charged with? Oh, you don't know your charges? No, I don't know my charges. Well, I can tell you what they are, but I can't give you any paperwork. And so on Sunday, sometime later in the afternoon is when I learned what I was being charged with. And I didn't get any paperwork until I got out of there. They didn't even allow us to call our family or a lawyer, which is a violation of due process.
I think basically all this is boiled down to is knowing the law and your rights. But then who rights are they applying these laws to? We know as African American people that the laws does not really apply to us to certain degrees. Matter of fact, to no degree, if I can be honest. Because just because you write the laws and then they turn around and break the same laws, but yet they want us to honor those laws. I don't think that's justifiable in any court of law. I think personally that you've been targeted. They set up the stage and was expecting a worse turnout than it turned out to be. So I'm thankful that you are here present in our home to be able to tell this story so that other people can learn from these coincidences and these circumstances that arrive from the officers pulling these couples over.
So most people who disagree say, well, you should have just given them, then you would have made it easier. But I'm not interested in making it easier. I'm interested in making it right. They're public servants. They serve us. They actually get the power to govern from the consent of the governed. These are things that's in the Constitution, that's in the Bill of Rights. But we don't know this. A blind conscience allows you to put those guns on people who you think you have the right, the authority to do so. But if you knew this in the back of your mind, most decent people will say, this is not right. I wouldn't want this done to me, so I'm not going to do it to them.
Dealing with the old Jim Crow, and now we are in our area, our daytime, we now facing the new Jim Crow. So with that being said, that we got to understand exactly what time that we're living in and understanding our surroundings and what is the cause and effect. How is society is now is shaping not only our lives but our community into chaotic situations that we'd never thought of, that we'll wake up one morning that we'll be facing a police officer that just pulled us over, given the fact that what we see in the media that's not really projecting anything positive. That's why we love AC Fun Time, because he's generating a lot of positive energy that can show people that there is a lot of positive behind the scenes that going on in everybody's life, that we are part of one community. You know, we one people and we one stand. And yes, when you speak about God, we also got to remember that we got to keep God first in our life. We got to turn back to our spirituality and being that oneness with our Creator. Whether you are Baptist, Christian, or Jew, or atheist, we are one people up under God's heaven. So elaborating and connecting with your personal experience, I believe our ancestors was with you. I truly do. And I'm honored that I can hear you tell your story, because not too long ago, some people didn't make it to tell these stories.
Yeah, AC Fun Time Superstar. Stay tuned. We're going to come back and we're going to open up with Minister John, and he's going to be talking about some issues that we are dealing with in the community. As you heard him just talked about some things he touched on that's going forth in the universe.
And that stage, whether you want to agree with me or not, that is your prerogative. All I would say, respectfully, is do some more extensive research on what's going on in all of our lives and in our community. Some of the things that's going on that we're not able to see with our naked eyes, dealing with the cosmos, dealing with the universe, everything is in tune with each other.
For this stagecoach is about to move out, and it's for everyone that has potential and would love to be a superstar. Yeah, buddy, this stagecoach is leaving for Fun Times Ville
at 12:30.
And the Lord God is your driver to see that we have a safe trip. AC is your conductor.
Right here, Friday night at 12:30.
All aboard! All aboard! All aboard! All aboard! All aboard!